With the growing popularity of chod rigs over recent years, more and more anglers are using the helicopter rig setup on lead core with the lead on the end of the leader. Now, for this setup to work at its best, it requires a couple of beads on the lead core with the hook link in between. Now, the top bead I prefer to mount on a short section of silicone tube, so that in the event of a crack off or the line breaking, the bead will come off the silicone tube and hook link is then free to travel up over the leader knot, and it means the fish has got rid of the lead core leader. Now, in recent years with the chod rig, a lot of anglers have been getting a standard 5mm rubber bead and piercing a hole at 90 degrees to the central bore so that it provides an interference fit on the lead core leader. Now, this can be set anywhere up the lead core. Some anglers prefer to fish the chod rig sort of locked halfway up the lead core leader, and then when you're playing a fish, the bead will just travel down under pressure and lock up against that length of silicone tube that acts as a shock absorber. But the beads that have been available, they've worked well, but like I said, with the piercing a normal bead, it's been a bit of a compromise, a bit improvised. So we've designed some new beads, the ESP Leadcore stock beads, that are specially designed for the job. Now, they're available in weedy green, camo brown and choddy silk to match the different colours of ESP Leadcore. As you can see, they're mounted on a circular frame that fits straight in the tackle box. The handy little frame contains 20 beads. The 10 around the outside of the frame have a very narrow bore with a solid central membrane, and these you pierce with a splicing needle to thread onto the lead core, and they provide the bottom bead with the interference fit on the lead core. The beads around the inside of the frame have a wider bore that is designed to provide an interference fit over the short section of silicone tube. Now, a good thing about this little frame is you can store it in your tackle box. You're not having to rely on little flip top boxes full of beads that are easily spilt. The beads are easily pulled off the frame, like so, but they won't come off when they're just sat in your tackle box. Now, also supplied with the little frame of beads is a short section of 0.5mm silicone tube that's just the right diameter to fit onto the lead core and provide an interference fit for the top bead. This silicone tube is part cut to provide 10 segments, so you've got enough silicone tube there to correspond with the amount of beads to make 10 leaders. So all you do is just pull off a piece of silicone tube and then thread that on with a splicing needle. Now I'm going to show you how to thread the beads onto the lead core. I've got a spool of choddy silk lead core here. First off, I've removed a short section of the lead wire, so to give me a flexible hinge at this end, so it's easy to thread on the beads. You just take a splicing needle, and I've got one of the short pieces of silicone tube. Just thread that onto the needle, like so, and then take the very end of the hollow section of lead core, put it in the gate of the needle, and thread the silicone tube onto it. If you grip the silicone tube tightly between thumb and finger, you can slide it up the lead core without it rolling up. I'm just going to slide it a little way up. That'll be fish further up, but I'm just going to put it there for the time being. Next, I'll take one of the wider bore beads from the inside of the circular frame, just pull that off. Again, thread it onto the splicing needle, and then that simply gets threaded onto the lead core and then up onto the silicone tube. So that's just a nice interference fit that won't come off on the cast, but will come off in the event of a fish getting tethered. Next, I've got my chod rig. That just gets threaded on. And then the bottom bead, which is the interference fit. So I just push the needle into the little lead-in and then just pop that through the central membrane. So you can see that's on the needle, and then just thread that over this lead core, and that's a nice interference fit that under any pressure will move down the lead core. So that's the 2 beads mounted on there, and this is the finished setup. So you've got the 2 beads. I've got a chod rig on, but it's perfect for any sort of helicopter rig setup with a bottom bait or any sort of pop-up rig. Bottom bead, short section silicone tube, which just acts as a buffer and a shock absorber, and also keeps the hook away from the lead, and then the lead on the end. That's a really efficient setup, very safe, won't tangle, and these beads are designed especially for the job.